I'm actually impressed
How usable this
yeah,
is.
how usable
10 out of 10.
Yeah, me too. Horrible.
Yeah. Okay, let's start. What do we see here? I don't even know how to start this.
You're the one that wanted to talk about us.
Yeah, I think it's good to introduce us. So let's introduce ourselves. Today we'll be reacting to our old work. And to talk about our old work, I thought it's a good idea to give some more context about us and what we do. So we're Same Studio, and we do web design and development. And we work with clients like Kylie Cosmetics, Dr. Idris, and Coty.
Yeah.
That sums us up pretty well. Of course, also Sally Hansen and whatever you see here. Okay. Look for yourself. And yeah, and as I already mentioned, today we'll be going over it was our first web
Oh my God, okay.
project. So maybe some context would be...
Yeah, okay. So when we first started, actually, no, this was before we even officially started the business.
Yeah, so before we registered it.
Yeah, before we were like, okay, we're doing this. We had this one project, and this one project, after we had started the business and that project was out there in the wild, then turned into basically the project that got us in the door of a lot of other opportunities. So that was pretty crazy. We didn't know at the time that it would blow up the way it did.
No, and also I would argue this is one of the projects where we probably just, I don't know, used free will. We were like, whatever, and just designed.
Yeah, we definitely weren't thinking about anything specific. Just like, let's just do something really, really cool.
Yeah, so it's interesting to look at it now with the eyes of
Expertise.
Yeah, expertise. That's well put, yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
So let's jump right in, I would say.
Okay, so it all started when a friend of mine referred me to a friend of hers who was doing this project. And he was managing an influencer. This influencer is from Germany. He has quite a big following. He's still online. And at the time, he was launching a fashion label. And they had been working with a graphic designer who had created this logo. I don't want to take credit for this at all. So the Theo part of the logo that you see here was done by that graphic designer.
I don't even remember anymore.
But she was unavailable. Like, she became unavailable at some point in the project, and they wanted to add this catching part because that was the name of the fashion brand, was Catching Theo. And they wanted me to add the catching. They were looking for someone to add that. And I came up with the idea of putting it on top of the T the way that it is there. And they really liked it. I mean, they were like, I don't think I did any iteration after doing this. They were really happy with it. Very easy to work with. And yeah, and then they called me up at some point and they're like, hey, so I know you do logos and like graphic design, but do you know anyone that does websites? And that was so funny because timing wise, you were just finishing your course on front-end development, right?
Yeah.
I think you just finished it, or you were finishing it.
No, I already had finished it, and I just finished another project.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you had been working on another project for somebody else.
That's
right?
why I was confident enough to say, like, yeah, I can do this.
And I was like, and I knew like that you didn't have a lot of experience, and I was like, whatever, like they don't have a lot of budget, so it doesn't really matter. I was like, and I told them, I was so open about it. I was like, she doesn't have a lot of experience, she's just finished, but I know she can do it, and I can do the design, and together, like, we'll make it happen, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they actually did kind of contact multiple people. And originally it was funny because originally they really only wanted to buy a theme and have us adapt it.
Yeah.
So basically our pitch was to find themes we felt like would fit and how we would adapt it to fit the brand.
And I think afterwards, then we were talking and saying, okay, what if we do a completely custom design so we have something for a portfolio?
Yeah. And then we also realized that changing a theme is also not as easy as you think it is.
Yeah.
Especially back then, I feel like it was even worse than it is now. And so we were like, let's just build it from scratch. And it actually worked out pretty well. I feel like we learned a lot, obviously. You learned a lot.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like hard, I don't think. It's not one of the hardest ones we've done. I feel like for our skill set at the time, we didn't find it that hard.
No, we also the design. I mean, there were some things in it that were kind of hard, but I've worked with similar not technologies, but like I built similar things in the past. And therefore, I kind of knew how it works.
Yeah.
So that's why we were like confident we can actually develop this.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's just get into it. So the briefing was to like create a web shop for the brand with a nostalgic and modern look and feel.
Yeah, so the funny thing about the brand is that it had this nostalgic take to it. Also, the imagery that they shot, like the lifestyle imagery, was very 90s nostalgia.
Yeah, they had like studio photos and also photos shot with a film camera.
Yeah, and then they also like the logo. If we go back to the logo, it has a very nostalgic feel. Like this could be a diner in the US in like the 80s, 90s kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that's what that's giving. I think that's what they were kind of going for.
Yeah.
So we had to bring that nostalgic aspect to something like a website, which is obviously digital and modern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe something before we dive into everything about our general process back then or lack thereof. So normally projects look different now when we do them, but back then we didn't even have like a project management, nothing. We had a notepad and a dream, and that's how we started. So basically for this project we only had a mood board, designs and some iterations of the design, and then we jumped right into development.
Yeah, so what we would do is we would create like a mood, and then we would present that to the client and be like, this is kind of the direction we want to go in, make sure we're on the same page. I feel like the process wasn't bad. It just lacked some steps to start off the process. Once we got into this part of the process, I feel like it was quite good. Then we would do design directions based off of the mood board. So it gives a client a couple of different options, and then they would pick one option or pick like one option, oh, we want this from the second option kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then we would have a final direction, and from that design everything out and then develop it.
Yeah.
It's the same as the process we have now, actually.
Yes, but I feel like we were lucky that the clients really liked what we did.
Yeah.
Because we were lacking some steps in between.
Yeah, we were lacking the
That's what I mean. Like there were some things missing that would kind of ensure a better or like a smoother experience for everyone. But of course, the main building blocks are the same. Yeah. Okay, so this was our mood board from back then. I took the screenshots.
Really? This is exactly our mood board?
Yeah,
oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, exactly. So we had on the left, you can see like that was one direction. On the right was one direction. Okay, wait. And on the bottom, on the left bottom.
Oh, really? These were three different directions. Okay.
Yeah, like for the mood, and we did them in design.
In design?
Yeah. I took screenshots from design. Yeah.
There's no way I was the one doing that.
I did that. I was an InDesign lover.
Okay.
Honestly,
that makes more sense. Because there's no way I did a mood board in InDesign.
No, we searched for it together, of course, but I just put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, which one do you think it turned out more like the one on the right, I guess?
Yeah, but also with a mix of the left.
Top left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we mixed those two directions.
They do look very similar, though, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know what our reasoning was to separate them, to be honest.
I think I know the right one was more like using grids and using lines. And we did have a version of the design, I remember, where there were a lot of lines, drawn lines.
Mm-hmm. You're right, yeah.
I think that's why that was there.
Yeah. And I think we also had these.
And actually, now that I see, I think this bottom, I'm not sure you can see it on the video, but
you see the cursor?
Yeah, I don't know if it's bold enough, but we'll see it in the design. We did play with outlined text and filled text, right?
Okay, yeah.
Design.
Yeah, we did. So I guess we just
mixed everything.
Done that. Yeah, not bad. Also, to be fair, a lot of clients like more than one direction.
Yeah, so they'll usually be like, oh, we really like this one. This is the one we want. But also we like this from the other ones.
Yeah. I'm saying one direction so many times and I keep thinking of the bell. Okay. So the next one, it's not much, it's not in detail that you can see. It's basically just to show the process. This is everything we had. All of our designs.
Yeah.
We put together all the iterations of it. You can see here are different versions of the same thing and also what we presented.
Yeah.
And then different versions of this other same thing and different versions of this. And yeah. So this is what our file looked like back then. You can see it was really just one design of the landing page and no components, nothing, and we just like freestyled it. And
Simpler times.
yeah, simpler times, and also not too much going on, but like it's a kind of a small page.
It's a very small page.
So
That's one thing to,
yeah. And
in our defense.
our defense.
I think it would have been overkill to go in with all the kind of stuff we do now for this.
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like we would have still set it up differently.
Yeah,
today, even if it's a small project.
For sure.
So it's kind of like just to show that we had everything in one file and just the different iterations there. And I don't know, this is what it looked like.
Yeah.
I'm sure we deleted some things that we just pushed to the side.
Honestly, I do think that this looks so clean and tidy, I have to say.
Yeah,
and
maybe we put some things away.
I remember I archived a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I just took up, I remember I created this file to take, and I took all the final things and put it in here.
Not see.
So I feel like it's not representative of what the actual working file looked like. I feel like it was way more chaotic than this.
Okay, but you can see a process here.
Yeah.
Like of one draft, another draft, then taking on one draft and trying different things with that one draft and kind of landing on it on the design that we landed on later on.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's take a look at it. So this is what the final design was. Unfortunately, it's not online anymore, so we cannot really show you the live version.
Yeah, this is just a screen recording we took, right?
Yeah, and we didn't even screen record the whole page. It's kind of sad. But this is, for example, what you can see here is one of the gimmicks that we built. And that was actually a really, really fun gimmick. I'm really proud of it.
This was our idea to have the models wearing the clothing, and then that you could scroll over with your mouse, and on your phone you could also like swipe.
Yeah.
And you could view a 360 of the clothes. And this was our idea that we had in our design direction or whatever in the idea process, and they then actually shot the images in a way that we were able to implement this.
Yeah, and honestly, it's still like really cool. It's not chaotic. It's actually it still holds up fine, I would say.
Honestly, if I saw this site now,
I would be like, oh, so cool.
it's really cool. Like I'm actually impressed
how
usable this is.
how usable. I wanted to say the same because I remember it way more chaotic.
Me too. Like even the size thing is not bad.
Yeah, they were clickable. I think the only thing maybe UX that was not super user friendly, I would say, is that you clicked the size, I think, and I put it to the cart immediately. Do you remember that correctly?
No, I think you could. I think you could select it, and then the Kaufen turned into a button or something.
So sad that we cannot see it. Okay, anyways, the Kaufen, which means buy, I would have maybe like made an outline at least that it looks a bit more like a button.
Yeah, but I think it's not a button yet because you have to select your size first.
Oh, okay.
It's like the disabled state. But yeah, it's not like, that's not quite clear.
Yeah, not quite clear. But yeah, I think this is the PDP, so the product page. You can see the outline fonts there, and
yeah, we were playing with outline and filled states of headlines.
Yeah, the gallery is also quite cute still.
I mean, even the product area is quite good.
Yeah, look, we even had the add to cart filled, so you can see it better.
Honestly,
I'm like so surprised.
For our first ever website project, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to put it into
we
perspective.
Had zero experience. I had never designed a custom website before this.
No, me neither. I mean, the only thing
not even like maybe a portfolio website, but never an e-commerce.
Yeah, never. We learned everything on the go. Like what's important.
There are even arrows for the media gallery.
Yeah.
Well, everyone does that.
Yeah.
Even the detail of the mouse changing when you hover over the arrow. Did you see that?
Yeah, cute. Oh my god, yes, I just remembered.
We had emojis and stuff.
Yeah, you cannot see it here, but we had him. We cut him out as a PNG, as an SVG or a PNG, and then we had him as a cursor, like flying around.
Yeah, we had a custom cursor.
Yeah.
And then also, there was also the whole concept of his head being like a sticker, which I feel like we are going to see on another screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a bit later, that was like a scrolling sticker.
Yeah. And we created stickers also for his TikTok and his Instagram and stuff.
Yeah. I thought there's gonna be like, I don't know, genuinely thought it's gonna be worse. And I was already prepared not to tear it apart, but to be like, hey, okay, this we would do different. Maybe like the background.
No, but look at the margin on the left here.
Yeah.
Look at that. Even the header, I mean, the margins are so consistent. I'm actually shocked.
Yeah.
The font sizes are also really consistent,
Yeah.
considering.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think maybe for the header, I would have put like some kind of, what is it called? Like like a gradient a bit more.
A background on scroll, just a background on scroll.
Exactly.
So that you could see. We could have made the logo even smaller too. Yeah. Like I know it gets smaller there, but it could have been even smaller.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And then the header could have been a lot smaller.
Yeah, for sure. Like go up a bit
With
more.
the background.
It's like it has too much, it takes up too much space. But yeah.
Yeah, and it's annoying that it goes over the text like that.
Yeah. But yeah.
Slay.
I mean, of course, we did not check anything about accessibility, and it was also not
It wasn't a requirement.
It wasn't a requirement. So we kind of just went crazy with the colors. These are some mobile screens. You can see on the right one in the beginning that the card was also very cute. It came from up, which is also pretty, it's not standard. Usually it slides in from the side. Also on desktop, it came from the top.
Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah, sadly we don't have a recording of that, but yeah, that's also not super usual.
I think if I were to design this again, I would definitely put the icons next to each other.
Yeah.
Like maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I've become too, like, e-commerce always has to look the same.
Yeah.
Because otherwise
like
people won't understand. Yeah, it's a fun little thing, actually. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the menu looks so good. Like, what the hell?
Right.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Mobile menus can be really disappointing, especially when there aren't a lot of menu points like this one.
Yeah.
But something about it just looks so good. I think it's the logo being in there.
Yeah, I need to look. Yeah, it's cute. Like, yeah, I don't know.
There were a lot of cute details, like using his head, like in the cart one.
Yeah, where he's like a sad.
He has a sad face, and he's saying, "Your cart is empty."
Yeah, and that was also a really cute idea.
Yeah, that was cute.
Also, one thing is that the client was also super open for like crazy gimmicks.
Yeah,
and also encouraged it, which was also
they encouraged it, and they also had ideas like what else could we do with his head?
Yeah, the cursor where he's like flying like a Superman was actually their idea.
Yeah,
I remember. So credit where credit's due. Also, yeah, since they encouraged it so much, I think it wouldn't have become the same project if the clients weren't as encouraging and as open to something.
To trying something out of the box, exactly. Like out of the ordinary, because most clients will be hesitant.
Yeah, especially
like, but no one else is doing this. This is okay. Is this best practice? But this wasn't about being best practices. It was about it had to fit to the brand, but also to his personality.
Yeah.
So like just a basic e-commerce thing just wasn't the right fit for the brand.
No, for sure not. And also, I lost my train of thought. Classic. Whatever. Maybe it comes back to me and then I can talk about it. Also, beyond the website, we made some assets.
Yeah, for Instagram, right?
Yeah, I think these were Instagram videos. And what you see in the middle of his head on the website was rotating with the scroll.
Yeah.
It was also pretty cool, but sadly, we don't have a video.
I think that was not the about page, wasn't it?
No, that's on the homepage.
Oh, really? At the bottom?
At the bottom, yeah. So there were like a lot of little gimmicks that we put in and to keep it engaging.
Yeah, I think there was a lot on the website for its time. When did this go online? 2020?
2020.
Or 19. I think it was before Christmas. It was 19.
You're right. Oh my God.
Yeah, because 20 is... Wait, when did we start?
No, we started 2021.
Okay, yeah, so it was Christmas 2020.
Yeah.
It was just before Christmas.
Yeah, just before. Because I know that we did one more iteration, like changing something.
Christmas version where the background wasn't a sky. It was a sky, but it wasn't a blue sky. It was like a wintry sky.
Wintry sky, and I think we also wanted to put in some snowflakes. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was one more iteration of this. And then it was kind of over because it was like a drop collection. And I think then they stopped.
Yeah.
So sadly, the website went offline and within a year.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad. Oh, wait, I just remembered about this. What I wanted to say was that the cool thing was since he had a following and they were sure that people would buy it beyond like like they would just want to get the product because they really like him.
Yeah.
So even if it's not super, I don't know, like best practice everywhere, let's put it that way, people would still want to buy it. Like they would go the length to buy something, even if it wouldn't have been like easy to access.
Yeah, the funny thing is it being super usable wasn't one of the main requirements. It was more about making an impact, but so it low-key is really usable.
Yeah, and it's the first website.
And what I wanted to say before, which I forgot to finish my thought, but about being in 2020, this, at the time, I feel like after we did this project, there were a lot of websites like this.
Yeah.
I feel like we were one of, not to be that person, like, oh, we started the trend, but I feel like we were at a time when a lot of these types of websites were coming out, and we were part of that first batch.
That's true.
And that is why it got so much attention, because people are like, oh my God, what is this? Like an e-commerce that's usable, but also looks completely different to anything you've ever seen. I want this for my brand.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what people said when they came to us. They're like, they always reference this project.
Yeah, this project was like...
They're like, we really loved what you did for Catching Theo. We saw it on awards because we posted it on awards. And that's where everyone saw it. And yeah, we got Kylie Swim because of that. And now we work with Kylie Cosmetics because we were referred internally in that space, in that network. And those are two of the biggest brands we've ever worked with. And now because of that, we also work with other really, really big names like Sally Hansen, Coty and their brands. So it's like this one project, which was just at the time, we were like, what, let's just have fun with it, ended up being the thing that launched our company's career.
Yeah. And it's like, because you wouldn't think of it. We thought that it's going to be cool. And maybe we were like thinking, yeah, of course we were thinking, yeah, maybe we will get some clients out of this. But I would have never guessed the impact this would have.
And I think I remember also saying like, we should get to know Shopify because I feel like a lot of brands are going to want something on Shopify.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. Now we pretty much only do Shopify.
I feel like we're some kind of witches.
I know.
Yeah, but I think we were at the right time, right place kind of situation.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say we got lucky because it also still had to do with a lot of skills here and that we demonstrated, but still I think that there is something about being at the right place at the right time.
100%.
Yeah,
but that's in every single
exactly
thing.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Doesn't mean that it's not deserved.
Exactly, and we just got lucky. I think it's like a mix of skill and luck. Yeah.
Is this the last slide?
It's the last slide, yeah. That last slide. Last slide.
Okay, let's rate this.
Okay. Do we have like a system? I need to know is it just a gut feeling or is it more like are we rating a bit in a direction here? Like you have...
Yeah, let's rate multiple things.
Okay.
Let's do what do they rate on awards always? It's like creativity and innovation, then there's like usability, and then the third one I can't remember. Content, yeah. I mean, we're not responsible for that.
No.
Let's do the 1 and 2.
Okay.
Innovation and creativity.
Okay. Innovation, I would say, again, context back then, even still, I would rate it high, but back then especially, I would say 10 out of 10.
Yeah, me too. Oh my God, we're horrible.
Yeah. It was, for that time, this was really special.
No, it was.
I mean, now there's way more of these, and it's like way more common now to have a special e-commerce and to actually experiment with it more.
Yeah.
But still in a usable way. But back then, I didn't see many. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been tons of people contacting us for a website like this.
Yeah.
So, now I think it's just way more common and it's not so special anymore, quotation marks. So I'm so used to being on podcasts. That's why I said quotation marks out loud, even though people can see the quotation marks. Anyways, okay, so innovation, 10 out of 10.
I didn't even notice.
Oh my God. Okay, and creativity also.
I mean, it's okay. I was thinking creativity and innovation is one thing anyway.
Okay, fine.
So 10 out of 10 for those.
Yeah.
And then usability, I'm going to give it 9 out of 10.
I'm giving
or
it
8.5.
Yeah, I'm giving it more like 8.
8.5 because of the header, the product card, which I'm not 100% sure if that works properly.
Yeah.
The way I remember it, I don't know.
Yeah.
And the button states.
Yeah, the button states. There's some things to improve for sure. I would say 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
In the context of this website. that's supposed to be a bit crazy.
This was already the sold out state too, so that kaufen, which is buy, should actually be gone.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
Well, yeah, whatever.
So people bought enough, so they understood how to buy these
I
things.
think that the usability, though, the reason why I wanted to say 9 is because this was sold out so quickly,
Yeah,
and no one had any issues.
true.
There was nobody who was like,
I don't know how to
I'm
buy
not able
this.
to add to cart, or like the cart isn't working. Like we don't see the cart here, unfortunately, but like also the cart must have been fine because people made it to check out.
Yeah, I remember it was also super easy.
And it happened really fast. Like it wasn't like people were putting stuff in their cart and not buying it right away. Like people, within the first 10 minutes, there were loads of orders.
Yeah,
So that's always a good sign
yeah.
because it means everything's working.
I was so scared of the first few minutes because if that doesn't bring in a sale, that means something is broken on the website. And considering this was the first site we've ever built on Shopify,
Yeah.
I was so nervous.
And it was custom, like something just to reiterate here. We had to set up the code so things were sent to checkout. It wasn't like automatic. You
And
know?
back then there wasn't even,
Back then that was not so easy to do a mini cart as well.
yeah, no. And back then there were like less resources also for Shopify. And also less like, and even like the cart, we had to put in some third-party script
Yes,
because the custom cards were super
You
difficult
couldn't do a mini cart the way you do it now. They didn't
now it's
allow you.
easy.
You had to add like some weird script, and then also you had to block people going onto the cart page. It was super annoying.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know. I remember it being a huge hassle.
It was. So, I mean, one thing also to mention is that everything we were like, every goal we had with this website, we could manage to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything we said, like the slide out card, even though it was super difficult, we managed it somehow. And this project, if you look at budget and time, was absolutely not profitable. But in hindsight, it doesn't matter because it got us other projects that were
In
profitable.
hindsight, this was the most profitable project if you think about the clients we got because of it.
Yeah. So I don't know, the long-term effects this project had for us were beyond anything we could have imagined.
Yeah. So 10 out of 10 in total.
Yeah, to sum it up, I really thought we were gonna be way more critical about this because I remembered it way worse in terms of
Just one detail, which I know it might be different on like another screen size, but look how it's like in a grid, everything. So like if you look at the top, I know, but this top part like stops with the end of the image. Oh, it's so beautiful.
yeah, we really thought of these things. Considering it was our first website, like it's what I'm saying, it's so difficult to build something like this and so difficult to design something usable. We have seen websites that we were supposed to develop where I thought, oh, this is not going to be usable.
Yeah.
Like, even if I make...
I know we've had people send us designs and are like, how much would the development be of this? And you're thinking like, you need to start over with the design because
Yeah, it's not usable.
it's not usable. Yeah.
I'm like a big fan of innovation and trying something new, but I think that there are some rules in place for a reason.
This is definitely where our USP was born too.
Exactly.
A USP of doing something custom, doing something innovative and special, but not making it hard to use just because it looks cool.
Yeah, that's true.
So like keeping things usable as well as cool and fun.
Yeah.
No notes. Oh my gosh. Look at it. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel and check our description to follow us on Spotify, to listen to our podcast, and our Substack to receive our newsletter. Bye. Bye. Why do I always do a peace sign? That's so embarrassing.